Have you ever felt like your life isn't truly yours? Like you're constantly being pulled in different directions by the needs and demands of everyone around you? That constant drain you feel isn't just fatigue. It's the slow erosion of your identity. Here's what no one tells you about always saying yes to others. Every time you make yourself endlessly available, you surrender a piece of your authentic self. You become a character in someone else's story, rather than the author of your own. We're told that availability is a virtue, that good people are always there for others, always responsive, always on call. But what if this constant availability is actually the very thing preventing you from becoming who you're meant to be? Today, I'm going to reveal why the moment you stop being universally available, everything in your life begins to transform. Not just your relationships, but the way you see yourself, the way others treat you, and the entire energetic blueprint of your existence. Carl Jung understood something profound that most people miss completely. Your boundaries aren't just protective measures, they're the defining edges of your soul. When you erase these boundaries through constant availability, you don't just exhaust yourself, you literally disappear. If you've been feeling exhausted, resentful, or somehow lost, despite doing everything right, this video might be the most important thing you watch this year. Because I'm about to share with you the hidden psychological principle that Jung discovered, one that explains why reclaiming your boundaries doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your entire life. The truth is that your availability comes at a cost far greater than time. What you're really sacrificing is the opportunity to know yourself, to discover who you might become if you weren't constantly molding yourself to fit the expectations and demands of others. Before we dive deeper, take a second to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. What we're discussing today is part of a series on reclaiming your authentic power, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. That knot in your stomach when your phone rings and you already know you should say no, but will probably say yes anyway. I see you. That creeping resentment when someone assumes you'll drop everything to help them. Again, I understand it completely. You've been taught that your worth is measured by how much you give, how available you are, and how quickly you respond to others' needs. And when you hesitate, even for a moment, the guilt rushes in like a flood. Am I being selfish? What will they think of me? What if they don't need me anymore? This isn't some small discomfort. This is the quiet suffering of living a life dictated by external demands rather than internal truth. And the most painful part, the more available you make yourself, the less people seem to value your time, your energy, your presence. You've noticed it, haven't you? The more you give, the more is expected. How your boundaries get trampled, not because people are intentionally using you, but because you've trained them to see your time and energy as infinitely accessible resources. The fear grips you. If you start saying no, they'll think you're selfish, uncaring, or worse, unnecessary. So you keep showing up, keep responding, keep making yourself available at all hours for all reasons to all people. And with each yes that should have been a no, a little voice inside grows quieter. Your calendar fills with obligations that drain you. Your messages overflow with requests that overwhelm you. Your mind races with the anxiety of all you've promised, but don't have the energy to deliver. Yet still you smile and say, no problem, happy to help. This pattern doesn't just steal your time, it steals your essence. Living in response to everyone else's needs means your own needs remain unrecognized, unspoken, and unmet. The resentment builds, but so does the fear of what might happen if you finally draw the line. This isn't living, it's a sophisticated form of disappearing. And deep down, beneath the exhaustion, you know something has to change. Let's identify the cycle you're caught in right now. First, someone makes a request. Immediately, before you even consciously process it, your body tenses. Deep down, you know you don't have the capacity, emotionally, temporally, or energetically, to fulfill this request while honoring yourself. Then the second phase begins. internal negotiation. You tell yourself, it's not that big a deal, it won't take that long, they really need my help, I don't want to disappoint them. This negotiation isn't really a negotiation at all, it's your conditioned response overriding your authentic need. The third phase is the surrender. You say yes, you make yourself available, and in that moment, there might even be a small dopamine hit, the temporary pleasure of being needed, of being good. But then comes the fourth phase, the aftermath, the resentment, the fatigue, the quiet rage at yourself for once again putting others' needs before your own, and the subtle but unmistakable shift in how that person sees you, not as someone whose time is valuable, but as someone who will always be there, regardless of the personal cost. This cycle doesn't just repeat, it intensifies. Each rotation drives you further from your center, from your truth, from the person you're meant to become. With every unnecessary yes, the voice of your authentic self grows fainter, harder to hear beneath the noise of external demands. What begins as occasional overcommitment gradually transforms into a core identity, the reliable one, the always available one, the one who never says no. Others begin to filter their perception of you through this lens. They don't see your struggling, drowning self. They see only your capacity to serve their needs. The psychological toll compounds silently. Your inner world fragments as you try to meet contradictory demands. Your emotional reserves deplete faster than they can replenish. Your sense of agency, your belief that you control your own life, erodes with each boundary crossed. Most dangerously, your ability to even recognize your own needs begins to atrophy. Like a muscle unused, your self-advocacy weakens until sensing your own desires becomes foreign territory. This pattern rewires your nervous system to perceive boundary setting as threat and self-sacrifice as safety. It transforms relationships from connections between equals into transactions between server and served. And it convinces you, slowly but completely, that your value exists only in relation to what you provide for others. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think the problem is that they need to become better at managing their time, more efficient at handling requests, more skilled at multitasking, as if the solution is to become an even more effective servant to others' needs. But what if the problem isn't your time management skills? What if the problem is much more fundamental, that you've never truly claimed psychological ownership of your time in the first place? Carl Jung understood something profound about human nature that most of us miss. Availability isn't just a schedule issue, it's an identity issue. When you're perpetually available to others, you're unavailable to yourself. And when you're unavailable to yourself, the process Jung called individuation, becoming who you truly are, grinds to a halt. Individuation is Jung's term for the psychological journey of integrating the fragmented parts of yourself into a coherent whole. It's the process of discovering and embodying your authentic nature, rather than living as a collection of adaptive responses to external demands. This journey requires inner space, the very space that constant availability eliminates. Most people believe that boundaries are primarily about saying no to others, but Jung's deeper insight reveals that boundaries are actually about saying yes to yourself. They're not walls that separate you from connection, they're gateways that lead to authentic selfhood. And here's the revelation that changes everything. The moment you stop being universally available isn't when your relationships begin to suffer. It's when they begin to transform into something authentic. It's not when you become closed off. It's when you finally have something genuine to offer. Think of it this way. When you draw water from an empty well, you get nothing but mud. But when you allow the well to replenish, you can offer clean, life-giving water. Your availability to others is meaningful only to the extent that you've first been available to yourself. This isn't about becoming less compassionate or less giving. It's about ensuring that what you give comes from your center, not your edges. It's about offering your gifts intentionally, not your energy indiscriminately. The shift Jung points to isn't subtle, it's revolutionary. Moving from reflexive yes-saying to discerning choice-making, from boundaryless merging to conscious connection, from being defined by others' needs to being guided by inner purpose. When you reclaim the right to choose where your energy flows, you don't diminish your impact on others, you amplify it. Because now, when you do choose to be present, to help, to give, that choice carries the full weight of your authentic self behind it. And that presence, that help, that gift becomes infinitely more powerful than the diluted offerings of your perpetually available former self. To understand what happens when you stop being available, we need to understand Jung's framework of the psyche. Jung saw the human psyche as composed of multiple parts: the conscious ego, the personal unconscious, and what he called the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of human experience that we all share. The ego is your conscious mind, the I that you identify with day to day. The personal unconscious contains your individual forgotten and repressed experiences. And the collective unconscious houses the archetypes, universal patterns, and images that transcend individual experience. But the key element for our discussion is what Jung called the self, not the ego self that navigates daily life, but the capital S self, the organizing center of the entire personality, both conscious and unconscious. Jung depicted this self as a circle with a point at its center, representing wholeness, completion, the totality of who you truly are, beyond social roles and adaptations. Jung believed that the central purpose of human life is individuation, the process of integrating the various aspects of your psyche around this authentic self. But here's the critical insight: this process cannot occur when your psychic energy is constantly flowing outward toward others' needs and expectations. Think of it as a river. When all the water is diverted to numerous small channels leading outward, the main channel runs dry. Similarly, when your psychological energy is constantly flowing toward external demands, there's nothing left to nourish your inner development. The psyche requires a certain amount of contained energy, what Jung called libido, to fuel the transformative work of integration. Each time you make yourself available, when your deeper self requires solitude, reflection, or rest, you're diverting this precious energy away from your individuation journey. What does this mean practically? It means that your constant availability isn't just depleting you physically, it's actively preventing you from becoming psychologically whole. It's not just making you tired, it's making you a stranger to yourself. In Jungian terms, excessive availability creates a state where the ego becomes identified with its function for others rather than oriented toward the self. You begin to exist primarily as a response to external needs rather than as an expression of your internal truth. This is why Jung would say that when you stop being available, everything changes. Not because others treat you differently, though they will, but because you begin to exist differently. You begin to consolidate around your center rather than fragmenting toward your periphery. The stakes couldn't be higher. What hangs in the balance isn't just your calendar or your energy levels, it's your psychological wholeness, your chance to become who you're meant to be, rather than who you've adapted yourself to be. But let's go deeper. Why do we make ourselves so available in the first place? The surface answer is conditioning. We've been taught that our worth comes from what we do for others. But Jung would point to something more fundamental: the fear of abandonment. At the core of excessive availability is a primal terror. If I'm not indispensable, I will be discarded. If I'm not constantly proving my worth through service, I will be forgotten, left behind, alone. This fear isn't rational, but it lives in the body, in the nervous system, in the deepest layers of the psyche. Jung would identify this as the shadow, those disowned parts of ourselves that drive behavior from below the threshold of consciousness. The shadow contains all we've deemed unacceptable about ourselves: our neediness, our rage, our terror of insignificance. Your shadow doesn't want you to set boundaries because it genuinely believes that your survival depends on maintaining a constant connection through service. And here's the painful truth many never confront: your over-availability isn't just about caring for others. It's often a sophisticated control mechanism. By making yourself indispensable, you create a form of emotional security. They can't leave you if they need you. But the price of this security is your authenticity. When you constantly shape yourself to meet others' expectations, you never discover who you might be beyond those expectations. The parts of yourself that don't serve others' needs remain unexplored, unexpressed, unknown even to you. Your potential lies dormant while your adaptability thrives. The deepest fear isn't that others will be disappointed by your boundaries. It's that when you stop performing the role of the ever-available helper, you'll discover there's nothing else there. That without your usefulness, you cease to exist. That your worth truly is measured only by what you do for others, not by who you inherently are. This is the root cause that must be faced. Beneath the people-pleasing, beneath the fear of disappointing others, lies the terror of being truly seen and potentially rejected. True availability means being available as who you really are, not as who others need you to be. And that requires the courage to risk rejection for authenticity. Jung knew that this journey toward authentic selfhood requires facing the shadow, integrating those disowned fears, rather than letting them drive behavior unconsciously. It means developing the courage to exist as yourself, even when that self doesn't match what others want from you. It means risking the possibility of rejection for the certainty of authenticity. If what I'm saying is resonating with you on a level that feels almost uncomfortable, like I'm naming something you've always known but never articulated, then take a moment to hit subscribe and join this journey of psychological liberation. This video is just the beginning of unraveling the patterns that have kept you from your authentic power. So what happens when you finally stop being universally available? First, there's the withdrawal phase, like any addiction. And make no mistake, approval seeking through availability is an addiction. There will be discomfort. People will be confused. Some will be upset. Your own guilt and anxiety will spike. You'll feel the urge to return to old patterns. The discomfort of disappointing others will feel intolerable at times. Your nervous system, conditioned to equate people-pleasing with safety, will signal danger. This is normal, the necessary disruption that precedes genuine transformation. But then something remarkable begins to unfold. As you stand firm in your new boundaries, your nervous system recalibrates. The world doesn't end when you say no. In fact, something counterintuitive happens. The relationships that matter deepen. When you stop being constantly available, you create what Jung would call a sacred space between yourself and others. This space isn't emptiness, it's potential. In this space, genuine desire to connect can grow, replacing obligation. Appreciation can replace expectation. Choice can replace compulsion. The people who truly value you, not just what you do for them, will adjust. They'll learn to respect your boundaries, not as barriers but as the defining edges of a person they can now see more clearly. Those who were merely using your availability will fall away, creating room for relationships built on mutual respect rather than utility. And as your energy begins to flow back toward your center, rather than constantly outward, the individuation process accelerates. You start to discover parts of yourself that have been dormant during your years of over-availability. Creativity re-emerges, intuition strengthens, your connection to your deeper purpose is clarified. This doesn't happen overnight. Building healthy boundaries after years of over-availability is not a simple flip of a switch. It's a practice, a daily recommitment to your own wholeness. It requires discernment, learning to distinguish between occasions when service to others is aligned with your authentic self versus when it's a reenactment of old patterns. Jung would suggest specific practices: journaling to track your boundary experiences, paying attention to dreams where boundary themes emerge, and consciously pausing before responding to requests to check in with your authentic desires. He might recommend actively seeking the tension of opposites, noticing both your desire to help and your need for self-protection, and finding the third way that honors both. The transformation happens on multiple levels simultaneously. As you reclaim your energy, your presence becomes more powerful, not because you're doing more, but because you're more fully present in what you choose to do. Your yes becomes meaningful because your no is respected. The quality of your giving transforms. Instead of giving from depletion, which carries the subtle energetic signature of resentment, you give from abundance, which carries the signature of genuine generosity. Instead of giving to avoid rejection, you give as an authentic expression of who you are. And perhaps most surprisingly, your capacity for true intimacy expands. When you're no longer hiding behind the role of the ever-available helper, when you're showing up as your authentic self with clear boundaries, you create the conditions for genuine connection rather than codependent entanglement. This is the alchemy. Jung recognized what appears on the surface to be a withdrawal actually creates the conditions for deeper engagement. What seems like separation actually enables genuine connection. What feels like loss of identity, of approval, of security, becomes the gateway to finding your true self. I can already hear the objections forming in your mind. But what about my responsibilities? What about the people who truly need me? Isn't this just selfishness dressed up as self-care? These concerns are valid. They're also part of the resistance that keeps the old pattern in place. The shadow is clever. It will use your most noble values against you to maintain the status quo. Here's the truth. Boundaries aren't about abandoning responsibilities. They're about fulfilling them consciously, rather than compulsively. They're not about caring less for others, but about including yourself in the circle of care. Think about the difference between responding to a friend's need because you've thoughtfully chosen to be there for them, versus responding because you feel you have no choice. The first carries the energy of freedom and genuine connection. The second carries the subtle resentment of obligation. And yes, some people in your life will resist this change vigorously. Those who have grown accustomed to your infinite availability will initially interpret your boundaries as rejection. This is the most difficult phase, having the courage to allow others to have their reactions without abandoning your commitment to yourself. Remember what Jung discovered: healthy boundaries don't diminish love. They create the conditions for love to flourish. Not the codependent entanglement that often masquerades as love, but true love, the kind that respects the sovereign nature of each individual soul. The path isn't about building walls. It's about creating gates that you consciously choose to open or close. Walls prevent all connection. They're rigid, impermeable, born of fear. Gates allow for discernment. They're flexible, intentional, born of self-respect. When you create gates instead of walls, you don't cut yourself off from others. You create the conditions for more authentic connection. You become available by choice, rather than by compulsion. And paradoxically, this conscious availability, this chosen presence, is infinitely more valuable than the reflexive availability that came before. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, having consistently practiced this boundary work. You wake up and immediately feel the difference. Your time feels like yours. Your energy has a direction that comes from within, rather than being pulled from without. The relationships in your life have clarified. Some have fallen away, those that were based solely on what you could provide, rather than who you are. But the ones that remain have transformed into something more authentic, more mutual, more alive. You notice that people now value your time in a way they never did before. When you choose to be available, your presence is received as the gift it truly is, not as the expectation it once was. The resentment that used to simmer beneath the surface has dissolved, replaced by genuine desire to connect when and how you choose. But the most profound shift is internal. As Jung predicted, the process of individuation has accelerated. You're becoming more fully yourself, not the self that was constructed to please others, but your authentic self, the one that has been waiting beneath the layers of accommodation. You find yourself naturally drawn to activities and people that nourish your soul, rather than drain your energy. Your creativity flows more easily. Your intuition speaks more clearly. Decisions that once felt agonizing now come with a quiet certainty. The fragmentation you once felt, pulled in a dozen directions by competing demands, has been replaced by a sense of coherence. The various aspects of your life now feel connected to a central purpose, rather than scattered across everyone else's priorities. You recognize yourself again, not the self you were before. You've evolved beyond that, but a self that feels simultaneously new and familiar, like a song you've always known but are hearing clearly for the first time. This is what Jung meant when he said that when you stop being available, everything changes. Not just your calendar, not just your relationships, but your entire experience of being alive. You move from existing as a reaction to others' needs, to living as an expression of your unique purpose. So where do you begin this transformation? Start with a single simple practice, the sacred pause. The next time someone makes a request of you, don't respond immediately. Simply say, "Let me think about that," and get back to you. In that pause, ask yourself, is saying yes to this request aligned with my authentic self, or is it a reenactment of my pattern of over-availability? Feel the answer in your body, not just your mind. Then practice delivering your response, whether yes or no, clearly and without over-explanation. Remember, over-explaining is often a sign that you're still seeking permission for your boundaries. This one practice, consistently applied, will begin to shift everything. It's simple, but it's not easy. It will trigger all the old fears we've discussed, but with each repetition, you reclaim a piece of your authentic power. The pause creates space between stimulus and response, the space where freedom lives. It interrupts the automatic pattern and inserts consciousness where there was once only conditioning. It may feel uncomfortable at first, even anxiety-producing, but this discomfort is the sensation of your psyche reorganizing around truth, rather than adaptation. If this video has stirred something deep within you, leave a comment sharing the one relationship or situation where you most need to reclaim your boundaries. Naming it is the first step toward transforming it. And make sure you don't miss our next video, where we'll explore Jung's concept of the shadow in depth, including the hidden gifts your shadow holds once you learn to integrate it. Your journey towards psychological wholeness can't continue without understanding this essential piece. Remember what Jung knew: when you stop being available to everyone, you become truly available to yourself, and that's when everything begins to change. The space you create through boundaries isn't emptiness. It's the sacred ground where your authentic self can finally emerge. It's where your deepest gifts are cultivated. It's where your unique purpose is discovered. And ultimately, it's where you find not isolation, but the capacity for genuine connection that comes only from knowing who you truly are.